I just finished up creating my monthly trend report. This is something that I've been doing for a little over a year now. August of last year was the first time I did a full report for the month, and it has become a staple in my monthly routine. And I wanted to make this video, just a forewarning. It's obviously not the glitz and the glam. I'm just at my computer right now, webcam. There's not going to be a lot of like fancy edits or anything like that on this video, but I wanted to make it because I think it'll be helpful in showing how I do my monthly research, what I'm looking for, what things I'm paying attention to, what I'm typing in the search bar, just the practical steps so that you can further grow your own research. You know what to look for. Maybe it validates your own research process, whatever the case may be. I thought that this would be a fun, helpful video to make. I post my trend reports in my community. You can see here, this is the August trend report, and it is very much jam-packed. There's a lot of pages in it, you can see all of these pages down here. These are all just keyword related pages and some design inspiration, lots of things. I want to kind of walk through the things that are in this report because those are the main needle movers I find in my business that I put into this report. But aside from this being a report, I'm not trying to like sell you or sell anybody on getting this report. I do have a trend report membership where people do get this report. It's also available for all of my community members, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is that research is something that has been absolutely pivotal in my print on demand journey. I think that it is vital for anybody who is also starting or in the thick of their own print on demand journey. And so this research process is just meant to help you. And so if you aren't already, you should be doing research. So to start, I think it's important to just share what my overall research routine looks like. So when I'm talking about research for print on demand, for me, that consists of design research and keyword research. Those are the two main pillars that I'm diving into every single month. And it's not always this formal sit down. I do this formal sit down, create this monthly trend report once at the beginning of every single month. But most of my research all month long doesn't look formal at all. I call it informal research because it's really just as I'm scrolling on TikTok, as I'm scrolling on Instagram, just like little random things I'm doing throughout my day. Or maybe I'm at Target. Those are the times where I'm doing informal research. And it's informal because it's not planned. I'm not actively seeking any bits of information. I'm just seeing and observing what's around me. It's kind of something that I've programmed myself to do, I will say, where I'm walking around Target and I see a cute t-shirt and I like the format of it. I like the design style of it. And so I take a picture and use it as inspiration for a design layout later on. Or maybe I see a color combination. For example, I saw the whole wall of Stanley and Owala water bottles. And with that, I took a picture because I saw a bunch of really cute color combinations. So you can truly find inspiration absolutely anywhere. And doing this research doesn't always have to be this crazy big formal sit down, but it is good to be aware of what's trending, what's working, and just be in the loop. I think that is a very key factor in success with print on demand because it's always evolving, it's always changing. And if you are aware of those changes, you can be the first to really adopt and bring them to new niches, new product types. So that is why I do these trend reports. And I'm going to walk you through the process of exactly how I do mine so that you can create your own little trend report. So let's start off by just digging into what I include in my trend report. Inside each of the reports that I'm doing, these are the key pillars of what I'm looking for and what I am studying when I'm doing more of this formal sit down research. Starting with design research, this is looking at current bestsellers, what's working on Etsy at the very moment, and I look at a ton of different product types. The second thing that I do is I dive into keywords, and Specifically, I like to start this keyword research on eRank. And then when I'm later creating my SEO, I combine my keyword research that I'm finding on eRank and compare and contrast that with what I'm finding on Etsy with EverBee. Those are my two favorite keyword research tools. But for the sake of this monthly research, I usually just stick with eRank. And I'll show you a little bit of the why behind that. I love eRank and I love EverBee, and I can't live without either of them, but they do serve different purposes depending on where I'm at in my listing creation process. The last thing that I personally like to do is bring it all together. And what that means is taking the design research, taking the keywords, and showing the final product for you. This looks like creating a listing. So the idea is with your design research and with your keyword research, you then have the information to go and create a successful listing. You have an idea of what design styles, what design trends, fonts, color pairings are all working. And then you also have the keywords that are rooted in demand, that are proven with search volume, that you then can pair together to make this beautiful combination of a hopefully successful listing. My bringing it all together in this trend report is mainly to show the students in my community how to do this, how to take this design research and these keywords and blend them together in practical use. What that looks like for me in my print on demand business is me creating listings, creating new designs that are paired and intended to be created for the keywords that I'm targeting. I think one of the most successful habits that I established early on was establishing my SEO and my keywords prior to creating my designs. In the very beginning, I didn't do it like that. I did it backwards, where I would create a design and then go and make a listing. And that isn't necessarily always a winner because it was hard to find keywords that made sense for those designs. But aside from that, what I would love to do is let's actually jump into eRank and Etsy. We'll start on Etsy because I like to start with design research, and a lot of my formal design research I like to do directly on Etsy. So let's open this up here, and I'm going to move my face because I don't want to be in your way so that you can see everything that I am showing you. Okay, perfect. So there's a couple different ways that you can do design research. The most common way is that you are going to be diving into the products that you are actively selling. So if you're selling t-shirts, a great best practice would be to look up t-shirts and see what designs are currently working. I will say I normally am doing this in an incognito browser because when I'm in just my normal browser, like I am right now for this video, it does filter to things that I'm already looking at. For example, you'll see there's a lot of mock-ups that are going to show in my results here because I purchase mock-ups and mock-ups are a part of my business. But I still can see some of the other organic listings here as well. But to kind of make this a little bit more bulletproof, I like to go into an incognito browser and find listings that way first. Now, when I'm in the search results, I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't do anything fancy. There have been times where I've done the whole little, okay, let's go to star seller and then click up here and type in best. If you didn't know that, you could filter to bestsellers by replacing this word star right here and putting in the word best. I personally don't do that. I like to just see what's naturally popping up. I don't think that there's anything wrong with doing that, but again, this is just my style, my personal way of doing it. And I like to then just look at what's organically there. What has a popular now badge? If it has a bestseller badge, amazing. And I like to just start gathering inspiration. Inspiration, there's really no right or wrong way to get inspiration. Inspiration, simply put, is what inspires you. What do you feel called to? What do you feel a connection to? What you feel a connection to, you're probably going to be more excited to use as inspiration and to create using components from what you find inspiration for. So don't feel like you have to fit a square in a triangle peg hole, if that makes sense. Just truly go off of what connects with you. As I see things, I then am taking screenshots and creating a vision board. So for example, maybe I see this and I really like this color combination. This speaks to me. I think it's super cute listing. I would then go and take a screenshot of it and add it to a vision board. So maybe I take a picture of this here. Again, in the listing, I can see some other validating factors about it. It has bestseller ads, it's in 20 plus carts. And with that, I could also maybe take a little bit of keyword inspiration from this listing here, looking at the title. However, I usually like to kind of keep my processes separate. That's just what works for my brain. Design research, create a vision board of everything that I am inspired by. And then second portion is the keyword research. But if your brain is one that can function and do multiple things at one time, congratulations. I wish that I had that. But also, yes, you could absolutely be kind of combining your design research and keyword research kind of all in one process if that's what works best for you. Now, the other way that you could go about doing design research is looking at completely unrelated products, unrelated niches, look truly everywhere. And to be very honest, that is where I think it's the best place to look and find design inspiration because you're going to be less likely to copy when you are looking at completely unrelated niches and product types. Not saying that anybody ever intentionally copies. I mean, yes, people do intentionally copy. There are people like that, but I know and hope that I attract the type of people that don't do that here on my channel. And so the thing is, if you are looking too close to home, right on your exact product type and right on your exact niche, you may subconsciously mirror a lot of the things that are already working in that niche. And I have found the true and best way to get sales is to create something that is a pattern disruptor. A pattern disruptor is something that stops the scroll. And there are good and there are bad pattern disruptors. A bad pattern disruptor would be scrolling through the search results and maybe you see something like a super low quality image. This could be stock mock-up photos. Stock mock-up photos are such a bad pattern disruptor with like the plain white backgrounds. They just don't give any visual appeal. They don't tend to perform well on Etsy. That would be a bad pattern disruptor. But a good pattern disruptor could be something that is a unique design style that stands out and still resonates with the audience. Let me see if I can find a good example of this. I feel like the bachelorette niche is such a prime example of where everybody creates the same things over and over again. So if I scroll here, for example, the whole social club style, that's what I'll call this style right here, where it's text along the top, script font along the bottom, graphic, established. That layout has really been done so many times in the bachelorette niche, and it's starting to kind of fizzle its way out, thank goodness. But you'll see very similar design style, very similar design style. Let's keep going and see if we see very similar design style, very similar design style. And then we are starting to get a couple little differences. Here's another one, very similar design style. So really, my goal would not be to create a design style that already looks like this. Yes, it's working in this niche. However, it's not going to be a very positive pattern disruptor because everything else kind of looks like it. However, when I'm scrolling through, something that does stand out, and at least that caught my attention as I was scrolling through, is something like this, where it's still using a lot of the same core themes that are working in this, where there's still curved text along the top, there's still a graphic in the center, text along the bottom, but they've really changed it up slightly in where they have the established and kind of reformatted the design. And so it's still bringing something that's working, but in a new and slightly different way. That's a very slight pattern disruptor. Also, things like, okay, a back print, that can also disrupt the pattern when there's a lot of just front print type of designs. Of course, this is going to differ from every product type, every niche, every listing entirely, but the goal is to disrupt the pattern. And the easiest way to do that is get inspiration from niches completely unrelated. So even though I design for a lot of apparel, maybe I'll even look at mugs, for example. I can see what types of designs, what color pairings, what font styles are doing really well on mugs right now. I could look at tote bags. I could look at phone cases. I could look at products that aren't even print on demand products. I could look at wall art, digital products. There's truly endless sources of inspiration. Again, there's no right or wrong way to get inspiration. It is truly just what inspires you. What stops your scroll? What captures your attention? Those are the things that you want to look for. Now, as I'm creating that vision board, what that looks like in my trend report is I'm usually taking a screenshot of those things that are inspiring me. And I like to recognize some different things about it, the design components, just what I'm observing, and some keyword callouts that I just think would be worth noting. So here's an example of a listing that I felt inspired by. I thought it was cute. I liked the design style, and it felt like something that I could potentially repurpose and bring into another niche. This is a really good example of something that I actually made a design from, and I'll show you that at the end of this video because it pairs with the keyword research process, which is next. So I do that for a bunch of different designs, a bunch of different things that inspire me. I analyze the design components, analyze the keywords, and then I like to get directly into that keyword research. And doing this second, I think also sometimes can help with looking elsewhere, not looking in the exact niche. Because if I don't really know the exact niche that I'm thinking about pursuing, then it keeps me from diving and digging into that specific niche. Now, I like to research for a bunch of different keywords. I like to research what I call general keywords. General keywords are just ones that I think could apply to tons of different product types. I also do keyword research for t-shirts, for sweatshirts, even though they're both apparel, different keywords are going to be targeting each. I do research for phone cases, tote bags, and mugs. Those are really the 5 core product types that I think are the most, one, beginner friendly and also have the most scaling potential currently on Etsy. And I like to find keywords that are a bucket 1 keyword. If you're not sure what a bucket 1 keyword is, I just recently did a whole entire updated SEO video. I'll link it above this one so that you can check that out next. But a bucket 1 keyword, simply explained, is a keyword that has high search volume, low competition. Those are the types of keywords that you typically want to start your niches with, which is why I like to focus on them and then find the rest of my keywords then after. In my keyword research, I'm going to jump over to eRank here in a second, but I want to look at these different screenshots with you just for a second. You'll see that the search volume for each of these looks very different. These are screenshots pulled directly from eRank. This one, for example, very green, very high search volume. This one, orange, medium search volume. This one, red, low search volume. And you might be looking at this and thinking, why would you include this one? They don't have the best search volume. And the reason why is this part on the right. This is my main interest point when I am doing keyword research on eRank, the search trend. It is a very good best practice to be creating for niches that are going to be selling in the next 8 to 12 weeks. We are now in August. People are going to start looking for Christmas gifts. Believe it or not, sounds crazy to even think like that right now. But people are going to start looking for Christmas gifts as early as October, really peaking in November. And then, of course, those last minute shoppers in December. I found my best success when I started creating in advance. In the beginning, I did a lot of creating for what was selling in the moment, and I did have some success with that. However, mentally, it was draining. I felt like a hamster on a wheel. It was very exhausting and very hard to keep up with as I was working a full-time job. I'm a mom. At the time, my son was 3 years old. So, life was very, very busy. It's still very busy, but nonetheless, it really took a lot off of my plate and also made me grow faster when I started creating in advance. So that's what I like to include in my keyword research. I'm really focusing there. And with this example right here of gift for bowlers, it's low competition, which is what's appealing about it to me. And yes, it doesn't have a ton of great search volume right now. What it does have in December is appealing to me. It has over an estimated amount of 2,000 searches. And that compared to this level of competition is a beautiful keyword in my book and one that I would be more than happy to pursue. So that's what I like to look for with my keywords. And if we jump over actually to eRank, let me switch my screen for you. Perfect. So if I go to eRank, what that looks like, the easiest thing that you could do is start with just a broad keyword and allow eRank to help you narrow your scope. So I mentioned earlier that I use eRank and I use EverBee, and I can't live without either because they serve different purposes for me. And eRank's purpose in my research process is it allows me to find opportunities that I didn't even know existed. So I like to find my direction on eRank and then go to EverBee to dig deeper into that direction, follow that path a little bit more, so to speak, find additional keywords, validate those keywords, look at the monthly revenue, the sales that are happening for those different keywords that I found on eRank, and then also find additional keywords that eRank also wasn't serving up to me. So they really work in tandem for me. I truly don't think that I could live without either. So when I am in eRank, as I mentioned, I like to start broad. So for example, with those general keywords, a lot of the time what I'll do is I'll just start with the word gift and type that in the search bar and let it populate. And then once it populates, I'll scroll down. Now, obviously, gift, that's a single keyword. Of course, it's going to be good search volume, but also you can see it has almost 30 million listings using the keyword gift. Makes sense. Of course, also this huge spike here makes sense. It grows exponentially as we get towards the gift giving season. But what's really interesting to me here, my exact process, how I find all of the general keywords in my trend research, in my trend report, I start by filtering by competition so that I can go down to the lowest competition keywords. And then my little hack is in this search trend. Now, disclaimer, you do have to pay for a plan with eRank for the search trend. I, for the last almost 3 years now, was on their basic plan. You'll see now my account is a pro plan. I only had to upgrade because of this last month's trend report that I created because I had exceeded my search limit. In the basic plan, you get 100 searches. And for the past 3 years, that has never been an issue. You get 100 searches daily. I've never exceeded 100 searches more in one day, except when I was making this month's trend report. I don't know if it's just because Q4 is coming up. Maybe there's just a lot of extra keywords to be found as people are starting to, or going to be starting to search for certain types of gifts and different types of product types for Halloween and, Thanksgiving and just all of those big holidays that we have at the end of the year. But I exceeded that 100 search limit. And that is why I literally, just as I finished up this trend report, had to upgrade to the pro version. So you do not need the pro version. You can absolutely do what I am doing here with the basic plan. This video is not sponsored by eRank, but I do have an affiliate link with eRank. I will link it in the description box below. It just supports my channel. I always appreciate, and thank you so much if you ever do use any of my affiliate links. So let's dive into how I then go about this. So search trend. This is where our eyeballs are going to be trained to look. There's 3 places I want you to look with your eyes. Here, search trend, here, average searches, here, competition. Now, we know that the competition is going to be low because we filtered by competition. So we're going to be looking at it, but our main focuses are going to be over here at search trend and then a little bit of the average searches right here. But search trend, this is the big kahuna. This is what we want to focus on. So if right now in August, if I'm thinking 8 to 12 weeks from now, I'm thinking October, November timeframe. So I'm going to just position my mouse right here at October, November, and then scroll down. And anything that has a spike there, I'm going to take a look at and see if it is worth noting. So things that are worth noting for me are things that I feel inspired by, things that I feel I could use, things that I think are doable, things that aren't trademarked. Sometimes you'll see things that aren't safe. And things that don't inspire me include things that I don't understand. I don't know what they are or what they mean. Sometimes that's the case. And this is an instance of a perfect one because I don't know what this means. I don't know what a Muscovy duck gift is. So I'm not going to create for that because I don't know what it is. I don't know what it means. And I'm probably not going to be the best person to create for that. I think that there's a fine line between things that are profitable and things that you are passionate about. And I think the most happy, successful medium is trying to be in between the two. If you're only focusing on things that you're passionate about, but they aren't profitable, then you're probably going to get burnt out because you're not going to see growth. You're not going to see sales. And then on the opposite end, the same thing can be true in the sense that if you're only focusing on things that are profitable, but you don't understand the niche that you're pursuing, you don't like the niche that you're pursuing, you don't have any interest or passion at all towards the niche, but it's just simply profitable and that's why you're targeting it, that is going to create a lot of bitterness and resentment in your business. And you're probably going to burn out at some point because it's just not going to be enjoyable. So, the combination of the two truly can be done. I don't want you to think that that's impossible. It's a little bit trickier. You're going to do a little bit more digging, but that's my best advice I could give, I would say. So let's keep on going. Like this one, custom stool logoed gift. I mean, I don't really get it. So anyways, I'm going to just keep scrolling through and see if I see anything interesting. Here's one, a gift for 21-year-old female, very specific. And it looks like it also has some other really great search bars throughout the year. I'd say that this is definitely more evergreen. It's not super seasonal. And it has a spike in October, which is one of the main times of year that we're looking for spikes for right now. Continuing on, here's something that I would avoid, right? Harry Potter gift. We know, hopefully, we know, you should know, that we cannot create for a Harry Potter gift. That is trademarked. That would not be safe to sell on Etsy. Please don't do that. So we're going to skip that. And then we'll just keep going on, see if we can find anything else. Here's another really good one, godparents proposal gift. Another really evergreen one, kind of like the gift for 21-year-old female. That one also had a lot of search spikes, just like this one does here. And we can see, wow, super low competition. So amazing, amazing keyword. You can repeat this process just like we did with product types over on Etsy. If you're selling shirts, type in shirt. If you're selling sweatshirts, type in sweatshirt or crew neck. If you're selling a tote bag, type in tote bag, any type of broad keyword, and then dig through the search results so that you can see when those spikes are. I'm not going to lie, it's very time consuming to do. The entire reports that I do every single month, transparently, they take me typically on a good day between 3 and 4 hours to create. It's very time intensive. Keyword research is a very tedious thing. If you don't like tedious things, you probably won't enjoy this part. I know a lot of people, they really enjoy designing, and that's why they kind of stick there and aren't doing a ton of keyword research. But I can't emphasize enough that keyword research really is so important. But that is my process. I hope this video was helpful. Like I said, it didn't have the glitz and the glam, not the fancy editing. I'm just at my desk with my webcam. If you enjoyed this video, you found it helpful, let me know in the comments down below. These videos are very simple for me to make, and I think that they can be really helpful. So if that's the case, then let me know. But I also will have a link for the trend report that I created for August down in the description box below. Literally no pressure if you wanted to check it out, but this is my process. You can create your own trend report, and I hope you do. Also, if you are ever curious about the full community, the POD connection, that is my full course community. You get access to all of the trend reports. You actually get access to the entire last year of trend reports that I've created. So you can see all the way from August of last year to August of this year. And you get access to the full plan, scale, profit course. So same thing with that, no pressure. But if you're looking for a community, coaching, support, and just the resources and blueprint for you to grow your shop, then you are always welcome. The invite and link is always in the description box below. All of that being said, I hope that this video was helpful. I hope that you create a trend report, and I will see you in the next one.